Well, it's the test day here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. We've done 2 days of scrutineering in the city center, and now we've finally gotten on track. Fans as well got their first chance to look at these cars in action. Some new liveries, some newcomers to the field this year, and the first chance for everybody to see what they've got here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Well, let's bring in our Jamie Klein to debrief what happened today. Jamie, our first chance to see everybody in action, but test day is not always usually an indication of pure pace, but either way, still a lot happened today. At the sharp end of the field, we had the number 8 Toyota, Brendan Hartley, setting his quick lap, and he did it pretty quickly. Set it right at the beginning and then ran through his program. LMP2, United Autosports, was fastest there, and in LMGT3, it was a Codis ASP. The Lexuses looked pretty strong all day. It's been a good start to the season for them. But let's start at the top with Hypercar. Toyota, fastest right out of the gate. And this is a Le Mans that they would really, really like to win.
Yeah, like you say, Brendan Hartley immediately out of the gates, his very first flying lap of the second session of the day. Half a second quicker than James Clardo in the Ferrari, and then the number 51 car also at the very beginning of the session. So we didn't see too many drivers going for fast laps in the latter parts of the session. Of course, many red flags and disruptions. We saw Sheldon van der Linde stop at the Porsche curves in the BMW. It was an oil leak. Andreas Roos, the BMW Motorsport director, confirmed to us the cause of the problem there. So very difficult to tell, like you say. I think there's a lot of manufacturers in Hypercar that are competitive. I think we're getting a picture of maybe who's at the very sharp end, who's looking a little bit off the pace, but certainly the majority of the manufacturers look to be in the thick of this fight.
Well, I think one of the big themes today as well were the stoppages in that second session. We had 3 red flags, like you mentioned, and I was speaking with Peugeot's Mikkel Jensen just a little bit ago, and he said it was really tough to get a clean lap here between 62 cars on track, between the stoppages, a very lengthy safety car procedure that they ran through in practice 1 after a stoppage and a crash for the 34 Inter Europol car. That car and driver is all right, but how hard is it, even at a circuit as large as the Circuit de la Sarthe, to get some clean laps in?
Yeah, always a challenge. You hear it year in, year out from all the drivers in all the various classes, and it only takes one driver to make a mistake, go off, bring some gravel onto the circuit, yellow flags coming out. It's such a long lap here, and like you say, so many cars, 62 cars in action. It is difficult to get a clean lap, and I think that's why we often see the laps come at the very start, especially in Hypercar, where they do have a clean track. I think LMP2, Pietro Fittipaldi doing the fastest lap was also at the very beginning of the session. So it's a trend here. It's something we have to take into account when we try and analyse what's going on in this test day.
Let's talk about LMGT3 for just a second, because it's been a great start to the season for a Codis ASP. That Lexus looks like a completely different car, a completely different team in a Codis from last year. I think there's a lot on the table for them this year.
Absolutely. I mean, you only have to look at their results in the WEC season so far to see that they're a much more competitive proposition than they were last year, when it was still all pretty new, not only for the RCF GT3, but the Jérôme Policon's ASP team itself also new to the event. So they've got a year's worth of experience. The car clearly much more competitive. They were quickest in both sessions today. I think we're going to see both of those RCF GT3s in what could be the car's last outing at Le Mans, of course. They're going to be at the business end of the field, I think.
All right, let's take a step back before we wrap up here. Who overall, across any classes, but mainly specifically in Hypercar, who impressed you, and who maybe has some work to do here?
Yeah, always hard to tell based on pure lap times, but I think Ferrari, we saw Robert Kubica go almost 2 seconds quicker than the field in the morning session before other improvements came later, but that was a little indication. Maybe it's the privateer car, it's the yellow number 83 car. Maybe they're not quite on the same page as far as keeping the sandbags on as the factory cars. So that's maybe a little indication of what we can expect from Ferrari. In terms of who's struggling, Peugeot, I think it was difficult for them last year. I think they do have an improved balance of performance this year, but whether it's enough to bring them in the fight, I think it's all the other 6 manufacturers except the newcomers Aston Martin, I think are definitely in the ballpark somewhere. Peugeot may be a little bit behind. I think there could be some glum faces in that garage after today.
Still early days, Jamie. Of course, this is just the test day. We had 6 total hours split across 2 even sessions. We'll have a day off tomorrow, but don't worry, we've got more action for you, more videos coming on Tuesday and through the rest of the week leading up to sports car racing's crown jewel here in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We'll be back, and you can, of course, follow along with everything that happens in the interim and the lead up to the race and the race itself on Sportscar365.com.